If you've ever just spun the dial on a shortwave radio, way past all the normal voices, you've probably heard it. This hidden world of strange whistles and beeps and buzzing sounds. It sounds like total chaos, right? But it's not. It's actually a secret language, hiding out there in plain sight on the airwaves. And today, we're going to learn how to crack the code.
I mean, have you ever heard something like this? That's not a broken radio, and it's not just static. That is a message. So, what in the world is it saying? And how is that even possible? Well, stick around, because we're about to figure it out.
And here's the crazy part. It isn't just one secret language. Oh no, we're talking about dozens. You've got PSK31, RTTY, Hellschreiber, Olivia. I mean, the list just goes on and on. It's a whole universe of signals out there.
So, the most important thing to get is that these sounds are anything but random. They are a superstructured, really efficient form of digital communication. It's a way to send text and data, even pictures, just by using sound.
Okay, so how in the world does something you type on a keyboard come out of a radio speaker as a bunch of whistles and beeps? Let's break down how that actually works.
At its core, it's actually a pretty simple idea. You take your data, like a text message, and you convert it into a very specific set of audio tones. Then you literally just play those sounds into your radio's microphone jack, and it sends them out over the air, just like it would with your voice. And this is a huge shift in thinking, right? For 100 years, radio meant one thing, speaking into a microphone. But with these digital modes, your keyboard completely replaces your voice. You're not talking anymore, you're typing. The whole thing really just boils down to these 3 steps. First, you type your message out on your computer. Second, your computer's sound card acts kind of like a translator, turning that text into a unique audio signal. And third, your radio just takes that sound and blasts it out across the globe. It's as simple as that.
All right, so now that we get the basic idea, let's do the fun part. Let's take a quick tour of some of the most popular digital dialects you're going to hear out there. Each one has its own sound, its own unique history, and its own special job.
We've got to start with a real classic, RTTY, which stands for radio teletype. This is one of the originals, dating way back to just after World War II. Back then, you needed these huge, clunky mechanical teletype machines. Thankfully, today, your little laptop can do the same job without, taking up your entire basement. Now, get this. Our next mode, Hellschreiber, goes all the way back to 1929. It's wild. Think of it less like data and more like a really old-school fax machine. The radio signal literally paints the text character by character, and it's up to your brain to do the final decoding, which is amazing because you can read it even when the signal is super, super weak.
And this is what that painted text actually looks like. See how it appears on that fuzzy little ticker tape? Even with all that static and noise, the human eye is incredible at just filling in the gaps and pulling letters out of all that mess. It's a totally visual way to communicate. Okay, so jumping from one of the oldest to probably the most popular, we've got PSK31. If you tune around the digital frequencies today, you are absolutely 100% going to hear this mode. It showed up in 1999 and it just took over, becoming the undisputed king of keyboard-to-keyboard radio chat. So what's its secret weapon? Well, it all comes down to this one number, 31.1 Hertz. Now, to give you some perspective, a normal human voice conversation on the radio takes up about 2,500 hertz. This signal is almost impossibly narrow, and that is its superpower. And that tiny little bandwidth is its superpower. What you're looking at here is called a waterfall display. Each one of those super thin vertical lines, that's a separate live conversation happening right now. Because they're so narrow, you can cram 15, maybe even more of these chats into the exact same radio space that just one voice call would take up. It's all about efficiency.
And finally, let's talk about the whisperer of the airwaves, JT65. See, most modes need a signal you can at least hear, right? But JT65, it can pull conversations right out of thin air. The software can actually decode signals that are completely buried in static, totally invisible to the human ear. Now, it's really slow, but hey, when the radio conditions are just awful, it's the only way to make contact. And a slow message is always better than no message at all. Okay, so maybe you're thinking, this is pretty cool. I want to listen in, maybe even try it. So what does it actually take to set up your own digital radio station? Well, you might be surprised at just how simple it is.
It's really just a simple formula. You need a standard shortwave radio that can do single sideband or SSB. That's what lets you tune in voices nice and clear.
Then you need a computer, a sound card to connect the two, and some software. And guess what? Most of it is totally free. That's it. That's your ticket into this whole hidden world.
Now, the real hero of this whole setup is the sound card. It's the heart of the entire station. It's like the universal translator. It takes the audio it hears from the radio and turns it into data your computer can understand, and then it turns the text you type in audio that your radio can send out. It's the magic ingredient.
So we've talked about the what and the how, but that leaves the biggest question of all, right? The why. Why are thousands of people all over the planet tuning into these bizarre sounds every single day?
Well, for a lot of people, it's so much more than just a hobby. It can be a critical way to communicate during emergencies when the internet and phones are down. It's a competitive sport with contests all over the world. For some, it's about pushing technology to its limits or just exploring and experimenting. But for everyone, it's a way to connect with a global community.
And let's be honest, there's just a certain magic to it all. Like one radio operator said, it's just plain more fun than sitting around all night scrolling through email and Facebook. This is active, it's engaging, and it's a real direct connection to another person, maybe thousands of miles away, all through the power of radio.
The airwaves really are full of these secret languages, and each one has its own little rhythm and personality. They're just a testament to human creativity and our endless need to connect with each other. The only question left is, what will you discover when you start listening?